productive, and also, yes, as musicians, it's the best way to share our music, even more digitally than, performance. So,
Right, right. So Joey, so how did you spend your pandemic? I saw a lot of clips.
how do I spend? Well, it's, try to kind of fill in my days with kind of writing more. I think I'm evolving more as a composer.
Yeah, noticed that on your last album, you wrote most of the songs. That our favorite one was "Downtime" because that really appealed to a lot of people because they had downtime.
Yeah,
But it was an
thank
upbeat
you.
piece of music, so it was kind of cool. So although the title was "Downtime," people were like, with the music was very optimistic. So it was kind of a
Mm,
nice balance of people to enjoy.
yeah, oh, thanks for the feedback. Yeah, I think since while now, I kind of want to, continue on that direction, as a composer, and of course, particularly on these three singles, like kind of channeling different sounds, putting, guitar and saxophone. I mean, I've had horn players before, but on this one I had, Jaleel Shaw and Gilad Hexaman on
Wow.
song, and some talented cats on the rhythm section, Tyson Jackson, uh, now based in Boston, and Daniel Winshaw on the electric. But he would be on outplay on Summarizing, which would be out in May.
That's so cool. So Joey, you turned 17 in June or 18?
18.
Wow, that's crazy to think about that.
Yeah, I remember first met you. I was 12.
12, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
We did that interview on YouTube. It's in black and white, and yeah, it was so fun.
Wow.
Well, yeah, the world has changed since then. So for music these days, who have you been listening to, in or outside of jazz? What have you been checking out?
Yeah, I mean, Eddie Van Halen, Michael Jackson, John Mayer. It's just, yeah, Eminem. So it's just like everything. Kind of, yeah. It always for me is always searching for different voices, in music, and
Yeah.
also kind of like a little bit of Hans Zimmer and
Mm.
this Italian composer Ennio Morricone. Oh, truly a master of, of composing.
Title of the last song to play.
So it's yeah, it's just remarkable, just for me to take my time and listening to these musicians, and also looking out, searching more on myself as well, as far as listening to other great musicians. I also find time to work on myself and reflect on the things that have happened in my life,
Oh yeah.
and go on from there, just always look forward to the better things to come. And of course, the music they have written, especially for the singles, are truly, they are dear to me. And I recorded this during, the height of the pandemic, and I decided
Right.
to, they had to record it, whatever it takes.
True. So for you, Joey, when you compose music, what do you hear first? The music, the melody, or do you hear lyrics? Some people hear words and they write music around it. Some people hear the music first and they write the words around that. For you, what is it like?
To me, it always has been whatever comes. It's actually pretty simple. So whatever comes to my head and whatever I'm feeling in that moment, I just kind of, it just channels with me, and I try to let it out as if I'm imagining that moment, whatever moment that is in time,
Yeah.
whatever is the good times and the bad times, I let it kind of intervene with each
Hmm.
other. So yeah, it's about more like in the moment, but it's always, to me, melody is always I don't know, to me, it's the essential part of me as a composer. I always strive to create strong melodies. That's always my goal as a composer. I'm trying to reach for that every time I compose a song. And to me, these singles are really one of my strongest compositions. That's that's what I think.
Yeah. Speaking with Joey Alexander. So for you, Joey, turning 18 now, I mean, now you're a man. You're an adult.
I always feel I'm a man, even before turning 18, That's what my dad always tell me. You be a man whatever age, you are.
That's right. So you get asked this all the time. So for you, what's the future like for you? I mean, do you see yourself going to movies and doing film work and scoring, or do you think of doing orchestral stuff or staying in the jazz world? What would you like to do?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I love, soundtrack, films. As I've mentioned, I've listened to some of them and we'll love to do in the future. But for the meantime, I would like to focus on, what I've been doing, which is playing more in that format of acoustic trio.
Yeah.
But, there are times that I like to change things up, like on this, on Sod, I kind of envision having, you know, adding more instruments into my compositions. I had saxophone or guitar or Rhodes. I love Rhodes. This is the first time that I recorded with Rhodes.
I was just going to ask you about it. What was that like recording on Rhodes for the first time? It sounds like you're having a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I had a blast. I mean, it's such a wonderful feeling. I always loved the sound of Rhodes, but never had the exact, place. I didn't have like the right place to put the sound of Rhodes in my compositions, and I thought
Right.
Chord was the right piece to be on it. So I always try to be specific on some things about some even instruments too. What's the best way to present the songs?
Especially with Rhodes, because Rhodes has such a unique sound, as you know. I mean, so it kind of like, I mean, if you listen to Chick Corea or Herbie Hancock, even at Majamal, how they approach the Rhodes is a whole different approach to how they approach playing the piano, which I always thought was fascinating.
Yeah, you're right. And as the process goes, I learned that right away. How the touch is different, how it the action is. Because piano is a whole ball game. With Lotus is kind of more. Actually, it teaches me to play more simple. I don't know, instead of
Hmm.
playing notes,
Yeah.
kind of just kind of play what is enough there and just not doing too crazy. Just like
Yeah.
I really learned a lot. By trying playing loads is it's a nice experience for me.
All right. That's cool. So, Joey, we're getting April is Jazz Appreciation Month, as you know, and we get to honor the people who have made the music what it is today, as well as the people who are making it happen, like yourself. So, for folks who are new into jazz, what advice would you give them?
Oh, well,
That was you once upon a time. So, I mean, what advice would you give them? Someone was like you says 12 years old or 13, getting into the music. What would you advise them or her?
like no. Uh, One thing I would say is, if you really, I don't know what your upbringing is. We all have our upbringings, but I would say, if this music really draws you closer, because music is something that is the most honest expression. And yeah, if you really want to learn jazz, just first, go to see live music. I think that was my experience. But I know these times don't allow that. But just listen to the older records, whatever artist you like. You know, maybe it would be from Ella Fitzgerald or Nat King Cole or Louis Armstrong. It can't be any artist that speaks closest to you. Whatever artist that they inspired by, and just yeah, start with that artist and learn with. I think you learn by with your teachers. Ask them about what songs to learn, And just learning how to communicate with people is so important. As far as knowing the music, you have to know it by playing with people around you, and that's
Right.
how you can get better. And that's how I got better, playing with people, and of course learning the music by playing. Of course, learning the history of this music, with the pioneers of jazz.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's important to. That's for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, Joey, so many young people around the world have, I mean, they've had their lives completely changed because of the pandemic in terms of not being
Mhm.
able to go to school, not being able to be with their friends. So, how have you been able to cope with everything that's been going around in the past year for you?
Yeah, I mean, as you have just said, it's affected us, badly because, yeah, I think at least for me, we're not able to do what we love, which is, getting our music across and sharing it. Because I know that, God has brought me here for a reason to shed that light, to bring people into the world of even though we live in a world of uncertainty, but with music we can ease the pain. So I think music always is always the metaphor for that um,
Mm.
that message. Yeah, I always feel like it's still hard times for us, and yeah, I mean it's really things will not be easy. As the road ahead is still we still have a long way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking with Joey Alexander here on Jazz 90.1. So, Joey, that's a really good piece of advice because so many people, especially young people, are so isolated and they don't know what to do with. So, it sounds like if they're able to find something small to enjoy, find delight in that because you're still able to play your music, although you can't share it, you're still able to play.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could give a better advice, but yeah,
That's pretty good, yeah.
it's been hard even for me. Really, the motivation to even to practice or to even because we have nothing, for this past 2 years. Performances are being rescheduled, and I don't know if festivals will come back.
We'll see.
Hopefully.
We hope so, yeah, very hopefully sooner than later. But it's nice to be able to still connect people because at least what's happening with us, Joey, in the last year or so, we've had a lot of people discover jazz for the first time. So we have a
That's
lot of
beautiful.
first time listeners to jazz who know nothing about the music. So they're just learning about you, Dave Brubeck, Wynton Marsalis, Billie Holiday. They're just learning about them for the first time. So it's kind of unique having all of these new listeners learning about jazz and the history of it because they've never had it before. So it's kind of a unique experience that we've seen over the past years. So it's kind of nice to introduce people to you for the very first time. They've never heard of jazz at all. Our young
Mm,
people have never listened to jazz before, and now they get to hear your music for the first time. So it's kind of cool hearing a 15-year-old person call us saying, "Who was that?" And they tell us Joey Alexander, and he's 16 or 17. So it's kind of cool to be able to introduce people to jazz that way.
that's beautiful. I think yes, to start from there. Yeah, I think that's the best exposure is by listening, to from you guys, educating not so far as telling the history, but by people listening to the music and having their experience. So to me, I want people to look when they hear my music, not me, but it's them seeing themselves in, whatever times they're going through, whatever, you know, frustration and anger that is really, you know, bothering them. I think with music that you guys played and my music hopefully will bring them, comfort and hopefully will uplift their spirits. That's always been my yeah, always been my message.
Well, Joey, again, we can't thank you enough for giving us the uplifting spirit of your music and you, because again, we appreciate everything you're doing. And also, please give our best to your parents as well.
We'll do.
Tell them I said
Yeah.
hello, give my best.
We love being, at Rochester. Always had some, great time, performing there. I mean, actually, that's one of those places that I'll never forget because, that's where I shared the same stage with Chick,
Right.
rest in peace.
Chick Corea. Yeah.
Man, I had a ball, during the encore. Chick called me up and said, "You want to jam?" So, yeah, man, it was one of the most life-changing, experiences, for him to embrace young talent like me and others. It's, truly inspiring. And I hope other musicians would look at that the same way as I did.
That was amazing because I think that was Spain, right? He called you for the encore for Spain.
Yeah, right.
What was that like to have Chick Corea ask you, "Hey, Kit, okay, you want to join me for the jam?" And then I can't even imagine what that must have been like.
Oh
Or felt
man,
like.
talking about this now, I'm still in disbelief. But still, just be thankful that you had that chance, with other musicians who also have wanted to have that chance, but
Right.
I had that chance, which I won't take it for granted. I'm gonna take it as, for me, my experience, and to always tell people that, Chick is such, a person that is always, he never forgets about the younger musicians, allowing them to be on the spotlight to share their gifts. So that's why I
Yeah.
learned a lot about Chick, so humble. He's so humble about that and allowing me to play with him. And it's it was remarkable. It's something that I thank God for that, meeting, somebody like Chick Corea in this lifetime. It's amazing. And of course
Yeah.
people are inspired meeting Chick. Actually, after the show, he was on backstage speaking with other few pianists. He said, as pianists, and we're composers. It was kind of deep when he said that. He said that, we have to carry this tradition because as pianists and we are composers. It was like, wow factor for me.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. It really is. Speaking with Joey Alexander. Joey, again, we can't thank you enough for taking care of us. And any final words for folks who are learning about why they should continue to support the artists and support jazz?
Yeah, we need this more than ever. Please, um, support as much as you can, and hopefully, us as artists can go back out there and perform and hopefully play at your festival at
Yeah.
Rochester Jazz Fest.
Yeah.
And yeah, please support the WGMC radio. It's definitely, it will bring some, enlightenment for, for us and for you guys, to enjoy some great jazz. So yeah, man, thanks for having me to be
Well,
this
thank you, Joey.
conversation. Yeah, I'm
Appreciate
really
it, my
happy
friend.
to be speaking with you. It's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah. Yeah. We saw each other in Rochester. We saw each other in Newport and Detroit. So it's nice to see. Now we see each other on Zoom. So it's cool, man.
Oh, did I see you at Detroit? Yeah, man, that
Yeah.
was pretty recent.
Yeah. So
Oh, that's cool.
so the road continues on. All right, Joey, take care of yourself.
You too, brother.
All right, be well.